Roll call, please.
Mrs. Brew?
Here.
Mr. Babalani?
Here.
Dr. Hayes?
Here.
Mr. Menigini?
Here.
Next business would be the approval of the minutes for the regular meeting of January 18th, 2016.
One correction, Doc, under Pledge of Allegiance, they got Mayor Hayes led the council. Let's change that.
Any other additions or corrections? If not, we need a motion to approve the meetings as corrected, minutes as corrected.
I'll make a motion, we approve the meetings as corrected.
Support.
Can I ask a question real quick? Lee, did you say that they had Dr. Hayes here at that meeting? Because that was in the minutes?
No, it was in the pledge.
Okay, it was also in the start of the meeting too.
Oh,
It said Dr. Hayes instead of your name.
Oh, I see that, yep.
You'll accept that in your motion for corrections?
Yes,
Mr.
got
McGinty?
it.
yep, okay.
Roll call, please.
Mr. Babalani?
Yes.
Dr. Hayes?
Yes.
Mr. Menigini?
Yes.
Mrs. Brew?
Yes.
Approval of manifest 2016-2. Is there any questions? Mrs. Rue?
Yes, on page 4 of 8, 4 gold track units, $2,125.
Yeah, we have, we've had in the budget, adding units to the trucks. We've talked about that, we've been talking about that for the last couple of years, to get them in all the vehicles. So we didn't do them all at once, we've been staging.
Okay. So did you order them or did Joel order them?
Well, I asked Joe to order them before, that was one of the last things I asked him to do before he left.
Okay.
Any other questions?
On the same page going down, it says Palms Tire Service. Under the electric utility fund, it says for a tractor, 2 tires. JD Tractor,
I'll have to check in on that.
okay.
Mr. McGinty, any questions?
Yeah, I got one here. Candy got one of mine. Page 2, last item in the rec department. Maintenance, equipment and building, UP security, 14 deadbolts, rekey keys made for the park, $2,100.
Yeah, there's quite a few doors. We've had some problems with a couple of our buildings out at the Marion Park and then down at Strawberry Lake. There are quite a few actually on that building at Strawberry Lake. We've been having trouble with the regular door handles, so we put deadbolts in them.
I know we've been having trouble, but that still seems kind of high.
Yeah,
Is
well,
that a
there's-
total of 14 then? Because there's a 14 in there.
No, yeah, there's a total of 14 deadbolts.
14 deadbolts plus, okay.
Yeah.
Plus the keys.
That's all I have.
Mr. Babalani?
I had the same question that Lee had, because then I looked at, on the locks, I looked at page 5, and they did 8 padlocks, and it was only $143, so I kind of had the same deal with Lee.
But those are different, I mean.
They're different,
it's
yeah.
different, yeah.
On the wastewater ray on page 5, that windshield replacement, is that under insurance? Was that a rock, or was that something that happened?
I'd have to check.
256.
Trish, did they bring anything to you?
Yes, I have the information. How much was it?
It was $256.89.
Yeah, I'm thinking that's under our deductible, but I'll look into it.
Okay. On page 6, we had a water line break right after we were talking about the water leaks and stuff underground. Halfway down, we had a temporary splice was $390, and then for Scotty Moore to dig it up was $1,020. I guess I don't agree with that, because I watched a couple guys just standing around up there watching while they were digging the hole and changing the line. So I mean, our guys were standing right there, and we should have did the job as far as I'm concerned, because it was on the city side. I know they did haul the dirt away because it was so saturated with dirt or with water, but that's a job that if we're gonna watch, we might as well do it. I got, let me see here. On halfway down in the front page, Ray, the administration, Jamie, it looks like she went to Florence for some kind of training for $47. Was that mileage or was that expenses?
Mary, why don't you take that one?
That was just mileage. It was 2 days of training, so they had to go to Florence both days and back.
Well, I guess I got a problem with that because that old police car that's on the side, the pool car, hasn't moved for about a week and a half. And, you know, when we talked about keeping some of these old vehicles and maintaining them, we're supposed to be using them if we go out of town.
I thought Bill was using it. I can check, I can double check, but I thought
I
Bill
think
was
we
using
have,
it.
we have a
Bill
couple
uses it
pool
on
cars, don't we?
Monday. No, just the one. The other one is down, used by the DPW. I wouldn't put the ladies in that one. It's got
Okay, because
gas
that, I know
cans in it
that
and
car
everything
hasn't
else.
moved for quite a while.
Okay, well, I know that on Mondays, both Jim and Bill use it. You know, they use it for what they're doing, so
I thought it was being used on the Monday.
Okay, that's all I got.
Any other questions? Otherwise, we need a motion.
I make a motion, we approve Manifest 2016-02 in amount of $326,293.37.
Support.
Roll call?
Dr. Hayes?
Yes.
Mr. Menegini?
Yes.
Mrs. Brew?
Yes.
Mr. Babalani?
Yes.
We'll change the agenda, and the next will be appointment for the city council representative. Do we want to have any discussion, or do we want to make a motion? We've all had time to think about this.
I make a motion to accept Scott Pop.
I'd like to have a little discussion first.
Okay.
Got my notes here. I gotta write everything down. Everybody that I've talked to and has talked to me since our tie, whatever you wanna call it, at the last council meeting. Again, everyone that I've talked to, and mostly people have come up to me and asked me, and they've felt that the next highest vote getter should be the one picked to come on the council. Even though by rule or regulation, we can take anybody we want. But my feeling is still that Mr. Oja should be the next one. That's all I have to say about it.
I had the opportunity to talk to a bunch of people also, and everybody that I talked to, I asked them that same situation, and they didn't feel that it mattered. I know in the last time we did this, when Mr. Durkins passed away, we picked a guy that didn't run, which was Bud Schultz. We picked a guy, he didn't run for the election, and he fulfilled Mr. Durkins' term, the rest of Mr. Durkins' term.
Bud was elected.
He had filled,
No, Jeremy was appointed.
oh, then it was Jeremy, okay.
Yeah, Jeremy was appointed, Bud was elected.
Okay.
Yeah.
But Jeremy, did you run that time?
Yeah,
You did.
but I was appointed to replace Mary Reese. When Mary
Oh, was
Reese
it
moved
Mary?
out of town. But the last one, after Ed passed away, I was the next highest vote getter, and then the council appointed me. To finish Ed's term, the first 2 years of Ed's term.
I feel it's a council's decision, and that's the way it's laid out in the charter.
Well, it certainly is the council's decision. Is there any other discussion, or is there a second to the motion?
I'll support it.
Roll call, please.
So that was Mrs. Brew, supported by Babalani, for Scott
Yes.
Pop.
Yes.
Is that correct? Mr. Menegini?
Yes.
Mrs. Brew,
Yes.
Mr. Babalani,
Yes.
Dr. Hayes.
Yes. Mr. Pop is the next member. Can he be sworn in at this time to, if he's here?
I'll meet you up there. If you just want to raise your right hand, repeat after me. I do solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution
I do solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution
of the United States
of the United States
and the Constitution of this state,
and the Constitution of the state,
and that I will faithfully perform
and that I will faithfully perform
the duties of
the duties of
the office of
the office of
councilperson
councilperson
in and for the city of Norway,
in and for the city of Norway,
county of Dickinson,
county of Dickinson,
and state of Michigan,
and state of Michigan,
according to the best of my ability, so help me God.
according to the best of my ability, so help me God.
Okay, and then I need your signature right after you. You can just sign. Oh, I have a tag.
Can I make a comment, Doc?
Please.
I'd just like to see all of you people that ran, or I hate to say come out of the woodwork, but I'd like to see all of you on the agenda for next 2 years from now when we have our next election. I'd like to see all of you running.
I'd like to echo that feeling.
And thank you for all the interest.
I'd like to thank everybody for their interest.
Next on the agenda would be the USDA RD grant application, police squad, squad car.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Mayor. This is something that we program every couple years for the police department, rotating our squad cars out, and we go through rural development for a grant. They offer up and this year it'll be 38% grant, it's $15,000, and we have it appropriated, it's anticipated and planned. Jim has been working with Mary on putting together the specs and working on what kind of a vehicle we want. As part of the rural development requirement, prior to going to bid or to getting quotes for the vehicle, we have to have a public hearing notifying that we're going for the grant. So there's no action necessary, we just need to hold a public hearing and answer any questions you might have.
Does anyone, do we need to make a motion to go into public hearing?
Yeah.
Would someone like to make that motion?
I'll make a motion, we go into public hearing.
Support.
Roll call, please.
Mrs. Brew,
Yes.
Mr. Babalani,
Yes.
Dr. Hayes.
Yes.
Mr. Menegini.
Yes.
Mr. Pop.
Yes.
Would Mr. Schaefer like to make some comments about this grant? Public hearing?
The vehicle we're trying to replace, we're trying to do away with is the Expedition. It's turned into a money pit essentially for repairs. And we would like to go to the 2016 Dodge all-wheel drive Charger as opposed to another utility vehicle, because the repair on the utility vehicles is so high.
And this would give us access then on poor roads like a four-wheel drive?
Well, the all-wheel drive Charger actually gets around better than the SUV does. It's a constant all-wheel drive system, so that what we've done, because of where we live, actually Rick has helped us, we've modified the one we currently have and installed a metal skid plate underneath of it, so it gets around pretty much everywhere it's got to go. Where the SUV, it has to be shifted into four-wheel drive, and you tend to get stuck more before you realize you need four-wheel drive.
How many miles are on the other two cars roughly, Jim?
We have 90,000 miles on the two-wheel drive Dodge Charger, and we have 40,000 miles on the current Dodge Charger, the all-wheel drive one.
Okay.
The MML, our insurance carrier, also wants us to get rid of cars at 100,000 miles. They really wanted us to get rid of the SUV at about 80,000 miles, and we're at 120,000 on that thing right now.
So one is a 2012 and one is a 14?
We got it late, we actually bought it late in the 2012 year, so it's a 2013
Okay,
model, and the 14 we got in the 14 season, so, I mean, it was a later, we didn't get it as late as we could have to get a 15, so we ended up with a 14 with that one.
you feel that the $9,500 for the equipment that's gotta be put into that car, that's fairly accurate?
It's fairly close, yes. It might come in a little less than that, but it is usually about what it runs.
As I know last time when I was on the council, I think they bought the 2013 and it overrode because we put in a new rifle or something and a new holder and all that stuff. and it
No, that was in
overrode
the
that.
Expedition,
That was in the Expedition?
because we have secured 3 rifles for free.
Okay,
We've already purchased shotguns that I will retire on. So
okay.
there's no expenditure on weapons or anything of that nature.
So the 9,500 you think is
It's fairly
no
close
more than that?
for
Okay.
equipment. It'll be that's the installation for the overheads and such. We would like to add it's actually about $11,000 by the time you're done with all the flashlights and everything that goes inside of them. But the part that Gene Myers installs, GM Communications, overheads, radio, is about $9,500. The last time, it was almost $14,000
Okay.
for the interior.
Is the money budgeted for that, Jim?
Yes, it is.
Now, is that in this budget up to June 30th, or is that into the next budget,
July.
July? Okay. And you mentioned on the one we have now, you put a skid plate on it.
Yes.
Is that going to be any type of warranty issue? Because I know they have to do the work on it.
Yeah, what it is, it's a quarter-inch skid plate Andy actually built for us, and it duplicates the plastic underneath of the vehicle. So when it goes up, they take the same number of bolts off and everything. It's just made out of metal now as opposed to plastic.
Ray, what were we looking at doing with the other SUV?
Hopefully selling it.
Did you get any kind of
Rick, our mechanic, would like us to trade it in, get rid of it. He does not want it in the fleet in any way, shape, or form. Because since we've had possession of it, we've spent $7,445 in repairs on it. There's probably a good $2,200 worth of repairs that need to be done right now on it. Rick doesn't really want to work on it anymore.
this is a price that's locked in? Or,
I received a quote from Tony Sasso, my deal that we go through down in Warren, Michigan, today on it. I don't have it with me. It is about $24,600 for the car.
It's
So
under the My Deal program.
So we're coming in actually
Okay,
cheaper,
yeah.
more than likely, than what we're putting out for on the Rural Development Grant.
are they interested, can you trade?
You
in
can't trade on
under
the
that
My Deal.
program?
You can't trade on the My Deal.
So when you said we were gonna trade it in, what were we gonna do with it?
Well, Rick was hoping to trade it in on something like
Something
the
else.
little Ford Rangers, that instead of big trucks, a littler truck to use in the summertime, two-wheel drive, save money, save gas, and the summer help could drive that around as opposed to a full-size vehicle.
That you're talking four-wheel drive then as well, small truck?
What's that?
You're talking about trading in a truck for
The street department, a park and rec type truck, the Ford Rangers two-wheel drive, the little pickup trucks that run around doing all the lawn mowing and stuff around town. The summer help drives them.
The grant program, you said it's only available every 2 years, or we can only do it every 2 years? I mean, if we didn't do it this year, could we do it next year? Because it would be 3 years for us?
Yeah, I don't think it's on a 2-year cycle. It's just that's the schedule. I mean, it doesn't make sense for us to buy a vehicle every year. We're on a 2-year cycle, so it's available every year.
typically the grant is about the same amount every time you put in, or
Yeah, it
not?
all depends on, it's a percentage and it all depends on the cost of the car. And the way that they manage the grant is that you spend your money first and then you spend the grant money second. So they come up with an established amount and then that grant is set and we spend our money and then we spend the grant money.
So if the car comes under value, we may not be getting the $15,000 grant, it may be 13.
It depends, and that's why they absolutely encourage us to buy accessories for the car to utilize their money, such as an extra set of tires. We've done that in the past. We did put a new in-car camera in the last car, and what else did we do? There's a couple things, because you're gonna spend your money on the car.
Yeah.
The accessories, you know, you're spending their money, and they want to spend their money, so they're encouraging you to upgrade and put those extra additional items into the vehicle.
Okay.
So once we get that point, it's, you know, you're using the grant money. Up to
Jim?
that point.
Did you write the grant?
Well, I wrote a portion of it, and Mary assists me doing the
I'm
major
sure that's
work.
timely too, right?
It's gotten a lot easier. We've done it enough times that Jim basically does a narrative of, you know, what we want and what he's replacing and, you know, what the other vehicles in the fleet consist of. And then it's gotten a pretty simple process.
Okay.
Any other questions? Mr. Pop, do you have any questions?
Nope.
Anybody in the audience have any questions or any comments? Anybody in the audience have any questions or comments?
An all-wheel drive car will go more places than a four-wheel drive SUV?
Yes, it actually will. You'd be surprised. My guys would rather drive that than the SUV when it's snowing out and you got 6-8 inches of snow. They would rather drive that than the SUV.
Any other comments or questions from the audience? If not, we can go back into open session.
One more comment though for suites. The county is actually looking at purchasing them now as opposed to an SUV. That's how well they get around.
I suppose, if you remember my father's stories about driving in Marquette, but there were no all-wheel drive cars back then.
Yeah.
They took the four-wheel drive when they were that.
Yep.
Any other questions from anybody in the audience, council or administration? Or any other comments? Now we go back into open session. Need a motion?
Make a motion, we go back into open session.
Support.
Roll call?
Mr. Babalani?
Yes.
Dr. Hayes?
Yes.
Mr. Menegini?
Yes.
Mr. Pop?
Yes.
Mrs. Brew?
Yes.
Next on the agenda will be a special events application, the Lions Club picnic.
The special events applications are put together when, as part of our policy for utilizing city property. Lions Club has been handling this event for a number of years, since 2008, I believe. And it's an excellent event for the area. We're pleased to have them at Marion Park. And so they put together the application for council to approve this evening. It's scheduled for 11 a.m. Sunday, July 10th. This will be the week after the 125 celebration. And it always comes a week after 4th of July.
Is there any discussion, or would someone like to make a motion?
Is there any liability, I know we talked about this last time, but I need a little refresher. Is there any liability to the city? Because I know there's alcohol involved up there.
Yes, when you approve the application, you're approving their right to have alcohol per liquor, the liquor control. They have to go through all of the insurance. They provided the insurance, so they're indemnifying us, and it's all per, our insurance company looks at it, and they're okay with everything. As long as you approve it. If they were to go out there without your approval, then we might have some questions.
I think it's a good event and it draws some interest in the park, so I'm for it.
Any other questions or comments?
Ray, we don't sell alcohol out there anymore.
Oh, you don't
I
do
was
that
just
anymore?
gonna-
Okay,
Good deal.
all right.
Thank you.
It says, yeah, it says in there, will alcohol be served, and it said no. We were just looking at that.
Oh, okay.
I make a motion to accept the special event application from the Lions Club.
Support.
Roll call, please.
Dr. Hayes.
Yes.
Mr. Menegini.
Yes.
Mr. Pop.
Yes.
Mrs. Brew.
Yes.
Mr. Babalani.
Yes.
Next on the agenda is special event application, Easter egg hunt. Similar comments. Does anybody have any comments or questions, or would someone like to make an application? I'm sure there's no alcohol at this.
No. And it's scheduled for Saturday, March 26th, from 9 to 3 at Marion Park.
Just a comment, this gets bigger and bigger every year, and the people putting it on sure are working at it.
Yeah, and they could use help.
Any help is appreciated.
But the children do not need help from their parents to pick up eggs.
That's right.
Any other comments, or would someone like to make a motion?
I'll make a motion that the special event application for the annual Easter egg hunt be approved.
Support.
Roll call, please.
Mr. Menegini.
Yes.
Mr. Pop.
Yes.
Mrs. Brew.
Yes.
Mr. Babalani.
Yes.
Dr. Hayes.
Yes. Would anyone in the audience like to address the council on any issue? If so, please come to the podium, state your name and address for the record. You're limited to 5 minutes. If not, then Mr. Mangini, would you like to make any further comments?
Yeah, I got a couple questions here. How's our tree sale coming, Ray?
Well, I haven't had a chance to check to see what kind of receipts we had. You know, we put them out in the January bill stuffer, so we'll
And,
do pretty soon.
excuse me, with our 2 grants, how many trees do we plan on buying with those?
Well, we have
$7,000?
Yeah, we have $7,500, so once we see what kind of orders we get, then we'll take a look at the volume that we're gonna look at. So I don't have a number for you right now.
Okay.
I will soon, though.
Okay. Question. Earlier this week, let's see, last week, I think it was Thursday, I was driving by up by the TV Tower Road, and I see there was a vehicle jackknifed up there, and it wasn't a city vehicle, and we had like maybe 2 city vehicles and 3 or 4 employees up there helping this guy get out of the problem he was in. Looked like he had some kind of unit jackknifed on the hill there. I was told he was going up there to do some kind of splicing for us.
Okay, I'm not aware of that issue.
Well, I mean, I'm just wondering if we billed the guy for it, because I'm sure if he called out a wrecker, there would have been a heck of a charge.
Are you aware? Okay, I'll have to check in on that link.
Check in on it for me. And let's see here. The money that we've been collecting every month from Norway Bottling Works, is that being kept in a separate account? And when it's finalized, they are going to get credit for something out Marion Park with a plaque. Are we on top of that, Mayor?
We are keeping track of the money. yeah.
Okay. That's all I have.
Mr. Babalani?
Yeah, I got a couple. Ray, the DDA facade program, is that still going on or available for this coming summer?
No, it's not. The MEDC changed the program parameters, and we tried to do an income survey, and we were not successful in the income survey. So we have to, in order to use their program, we have to have job creation, and it doesn't work out. It was hard enough without the job creation numbers, and now with job creation, it's virtually impossible. It's hard to, and that was a statewide number of communities fell off their list, so we've been working to try to get back on their list.
Okay. The other thing that I'd like to talk about is, I don't know if it's in the charter or where it's located in the city policy, that the manager approves what positions are hired or hiring any positions. I really would like to see the manager in charge of hiring once the council approves the position. I think that's very important, and I think the council needs to have control of that, and the manager does the hiring once the position is blessed by the council. I'd like to open that for some kind of a discussion.
I think, is that in the charter, Ray?
That is in the charter.
Pretty sure it is.
So unless we change the charter, but I think essentially that's what the policy is. I think the council sets policy.
Okay, I didn't, when I was looking over some of that stuff, that's not what I got. Maybe Ray can refresh us. I do think Ray should do the hiring once the council approves the position that's being filled. Ray can probably bring that forth, I don't know.
We could have a report for the next meeting in the manager's report.
Okay. I can do that.
I'd like to say that I also would like to see any positions halted on filling until we get to the bottom of this, because we do have a real good situation here now where the city can pool together and save a lot of money, if possible.
Any other comments?
That's all I got.
Mr. Pop?
I just have to say thank you to the committee for giving me the opportunity to fill Mr. Ball's spot. I'll try and do the best that I can for our community and try and make everybody happy. I know it's not possible to make 100 people happy, you know, but I'll do my best. I'd like to thank you.
Mrs. Brew?
Yeah, I have a couple questions. Ray, have we heard anything back from Mead and Hunt on that proposal when we sent them on for the payment?
Engineering fees?
I haven't heard anything back from them. Bruce has been out of town, so
Okay.
he's due back here. So probably
We'll hear something.
hear something back.
Okay, and then the other question I was gonna ask, did we get any of the stuff back from the dam?
I've had telephone conversations with the engineers. They're finalizing their reports,
Okay,
so I have an idea as to where they're going with it. Just don't have the final report in my hand. If you stop by, we can chat about those
okay,
comments.
okay. Thank you.
I would also like to bring forth, I've been watching Grant's bills, and I think that his company is more than fair, along with the other attorney that's handling a lot of stuff. I appreciate the itemized slips.
I have a couple of comments. I'm glad to see we're planting our trees a little earlier this year. Generally, the earlier you can get them in the ground, once the dirt is thawed, the better. I'd also like to comment that my grandchildren really have enjoyed the skating rink down there, and I know the community has. And I'd like to reiterate that I'd like to see some kind of a project. I know that it's expensive and it would take a long time, a lot of community effort, but I'd still like to see the skating rink covered and have that area for a pavilion use in the summertime. And also, a citizen has contacted me about using the money for land sales up by the spring to use into construction of a facility up at the spring. So I'd like to see that either go before the DDA or the Planning Commission or even the council itself to maybe discuss what should be done at the spring. Stated over the years, I'd really like to see some kind of facility there so that spring is available year-round to the citizens. And there's lots of different possibilities, including commercial or just a building there. But something to make the spring accessible. I think the spring is a real potential draw for our community as far as tourism is concerned. So again, I'd like to see the DDA or possibly the Planning Commission or the council take up that discussion and see what people want.
I agree with Doc. I think that a indoor facility being, if that money was going to be used up there from a sale, that that Norway Spring is used a lot through the summer, and I think if we had an indoor restroom, it would be a big plus.
Any comments or questions from staff? Mr. Schaefer, any other comments or?
Very, very briefly, Mayor Hayes, glad I didn't have to flip any coins tonight or draw any straws, so I do commend the council for working through things, and appointing Mr. Pop, and I would like to congratulate him as well on behalf of the community. Additionally, just a reminder, folks, the Norway 125 committee, the Friends of Norway, that has been developed, has been meeting on Wednesdays, every other Wednesday or so. That we meet more and more often as things get closer here. The folks that have been putting forth their efforts, the community people as well. I've been attending these meetings. I'd like to thank the committee members for working so hard, and we do have members of the community that are coming forward that are offering assistance. It seems like the momentum is building a little bit. I'd like to commend the folks that have come forward and also put out a plea for volunteers or interested people. This is going to be a big event for our city, and the more volunteers, more help that we have as a citywide event, the better. So the next meeting is February 10th at 6 o'clock downstairs in the City Hall. So the more the merrier, and we'd welcome any assistance, and also, like I said, the folks that have offered to help already, we really appreciate it, and the community groups. The momentum is building, and I think the committee is looking forward to starting to make some announcements and continue to get the momentum out there and the word out for the upcoming event this summer.
Thank you. Mr. Anderson, any comments or?
No, I have nothing this evening.
Anybody else have any comments, or we need a motion to adjourn?
I'll make a motion, we adjourn.
Support.
Roll call, please.
Mr. Pop,
Yes.
Mrs. Brew,
Yes.
Mr. Babalani,
Yes.
Dr. Hayes.
Yes.
Mr. Menegini.
Yes.
Meeting's adjourned.